lesson 104. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so hopefully we can go over it and review a little bit. Click on the wrong page. So, anyways, so we start by looking at the blog again, at Anthony's blog, and he's talking about the Calle A Festival, which takes place in Miami, and he talks about it's a Cuban festival. It talks about arroz con frijoles negros, black beans and rice, and they have music and all kinds of stuff. Pretty fun festival, actually. And underneath you see this little map, and when you click on it, it tells a little bit about each country. Like in Mexico, it talks about Dia de los Muertos, when people decorate their families' graves. They go and visit the graves. Pretty cool, actually. In Cuba, they had Dia de Navidad, Dia de los Reyes. Dia de Navidad is December the 25th, which is Christmas. Dia de los Reyes is when the three kings, Melchor, Gaspar, y Baltasar, come to see baby Jesus. Of course, there's a heavy influence of Catholic religion in Latin America. In Panama, there's diving, there's rafting, all kinds of water sports in Panama. In El Salvador, the capital is San Salvador, okay? And it talks about a monument, El Salvador del Mundo. So, it's pretty cool for you to explore these things. So we're going to do a search just to show you a little bit about it, okay? But it's a monument. El Salvador actually means the Savior. And again, we talk about that Catholic influence, the Savior of the world, meaning Jesus. And that's what the country means, Savior of the world. As you can see, there is a monument, the picture of the monument right there. And let me show you a few different pictures here. But you can see, basically it's in the center of the town. So a lot of people go and visit. It's like a park. You see there's a McDonald's right there in the background. As you can see, we have a lot of heavy American influence in El Salvador. I know a little bit about it, of course, because I'm from El Salvador. But again, it means Savior of the world. So the monument is of Jesus, as in taking care of the city, so to speak. Okay, so pretty cool to look up things that you see so you can try to better understand Hispanic culture. But again, the Calle Ocho is a big festival, so remember that. Here's a vocabulary of some countries. Cuba es una isla en el Caribe. Okay, la República Dominicana está en el Caribe. The Dominican Republic is in the Caribbean. Mexico está al norte de Guatemala. Mexico is north of Guatemala. Okay, and again, I'm clicking on the translate button. Guatemala está al sur de Mexico. Guatemala is to the south, or is south of Mexico. Okay. El canal de Panamá está en Panamá, cerca de Colombia. Panama Canal is in Panama, near Colombia. Okay. En Venezuela está al este de Colombia. Venezuela is east of Colombia. So again, it's just a few things so you can learn how to pronounce those words. Colombia está en América del Sur. Machu Picchu está en Perú. And again, Machu Picchu, hopefully some of you have heard of Machu Picchu, but I want to show you some pictures of it. It's a pretty cool place, and it's basically it's the Incan civilization. Okay, it's in Peru. Okay, and you can see it's awesome place up in the mountains. That's where there was a lot of gold, and the Spaniards came and took the gold, and they fought off the Incans and took their gold away. So really cool story behind it. And as you can see, there are a lot of llamas there up in the mountains in Peru. Okay, and Machu Picchu is just a big tourist place. I never been there, but several people in my family have been there. So look it up. Pretty cool place. La Argentina está en Sudamérica. Argentina is in South America. España está en Europa. Spain is in Europe. It's the only Spanish-speaking country in Europe is Spain. Okay, so keep that in mind. Underneath, you talk about that the mobile thing that you can put in your smartphone for to make cards so you can practice the words. It talks about the World Spanish. It talks about National Hispanic Heritage Month. It's celebrated from September 15th to October 15th, and that's because September 15th, Independence Day for Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua. So they picked that day. But there are a lot of, basically recognition of Spanish culture. There is a map there. You can see the Spanish population, like in for example, right there in Mississippi, it's only 2%, but in Florida, it's 17%. I bet you it's higher than that by now, actually. I think this is based on 2010. In Texas, 29%. In New Mexico, it's 28%. As you can see, the states in the south is where you see the more Latinos or Hispanics. That's because they're closer to the border of Mexico, okay? So you'll see a higher population. So you see up north, it's very, very small, 2 to 4%, sometimes even 1%. In New York, there is a large Hispanic population. There are a lot of Puerto Rican people who live in New York. But the closer you get to the south, the higher the population gets, in part because Latinos, we like warm weather. We don't like cold weather as much. So we try to stay down south, so to speak. Okay, here is Hispanic culture. With celebration, the Hispanic families celebrate the birth of Jesus, Dia de Navidad, which is Christmas. Let's see, when do they receive gifts from the king's children? Melchor, Gaspar, and Baltasar, that's Dia de los Reyes. King's Day, which is January the 6th. With celebration, the Hispanic teenage girls have a big birthday party, the quinceañero. We call it quinceañera, actually, no quinceañero. Select the country that matches with the festival Dia de los Muertos. That's a big celebration in Mexico when people go see the graves. Although in El Salvador, we celebrate that. Pretty much everywhere in Latin America, they celebrate Dia de los Muertos, which is the day after Halloween, which is November the 1st, is Dia de los Muertos. Okay, it's a holiday. Spanish is the second most common language spoken in the U.S. That is true. 1 in 100 people speak Spanish at home. That's actually not true. It's actually 10 in 100 or 1 in 10. 10% of the population, about, actually it's higher than that, I think, that actually speak Spanish at home. So that's not true. Hispanic Heritage Month celebrated in the U.S. to honor Hispanics. It's Hispanic culture, not so much Hispanics, just the culture. Okay, the food, the music, everything that we're influenced by. Hungarian is a common language? Not really. Not a lot of people speak Hungarian. Knowing Spanish can give you better job opportunities. That is very true. Of course, you can get a better job in some fields, not in every field, but in some fields. Of course, you can look at the text version if you choose to. So as far as assessment, it says congratulations, you have compared 104 Hispanic culture. You should not be able to identify what languages other than English are spoken in the United States. Of course, there is Chinese, French, German are very common languages spoken in the United States. But the second most important other than English is Spanish. I remember the U.S. does not have an official language. I don't know why, but we don't. So. Although most people, of course, speak English. Anyways, I hope this helps you out some. Thank you.